So I am actually going to be posting 2 videos in 2 weeks. That's actually really good for me. So welcome back. I'm headed up to the shop. We're gonna take a quick ride up there. Plan for today is gonna be disassembling my 2JZ that's gonna be going into my E36. If you haven't followed my videos, my previous videos where I bought a cheap E36 chassis that needed a lot of work, a lot of love, a lot of restoration, and I've been building it up, starting essentially a ground up restoration. Currently, I'm in the phase of paint and body, but in the meantime, while all that is being worked out, I'm gonna be assembling the mystery $400 2JZ that I picked up off of Facebook Marketplace. Supposedly, it's a good engine that may have overheated, so I'm not sure exactly, but I'm gonna take it apart, I'm gonna see what it's all about, and then you and I are gonna find this out together, because this will be the first time that I've actually dove into this engine. So let's get going. First things first, I've got to get all the accessories stripped out, all the valve covers, oil pan. I don't even know if there's oil in this engine, but let's get it. And don't you dare judge my tool that Snap-on provided to me. It's a new unreleased tool for removing 2JZ crank pulleys. Sometimes you just have to improvise, and what I did was I improvised. And so don't you dare judge me for my tool because it works.
Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way to make it work and find another.
So from what I can see here, it looks like this timing belt is fairly new. The timing belt tensioner is new, and the timing belt tensioner pulley is new as well. So it looks like someone's been in here before. Everything looks pretty clean, and so that makes me think that this is all fairly new and low mileage, new and low mileage parts. It looks like the oil pump is fairly new as well. So not sure what the story is on this, but we'll hopefully find out more answers as we get into it. These oil seals look like they're new as well, but one thing I noticed, you can see here, looks like whoever installed these did not seat them properly, and so this seal probably was going to be leaking soon. It didn't look like it leaked yet, but pretty soon that seal was going to be leaking.
Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way to make it work and find another route.
So far, as you just saw, everything looks fairly even as far as the wear. On the cam caps, a couple of the caps had some very superficial grooves on it that I could feel with my fingernail, but I suspect this engine probably has a good amount of mileage on it, so some of that is expected. It's hard to tell because I believe this head has been cleaned and resurfaced before. So it's hard to tell how many miles were on this engine before, but it definitely looks like this was a higher mileage engine. All the buckets and shims look pretty good. They feel smooth. It looks like they were oiled really well. And that's usually a telltale sign because this is the upper part of the engine. If the car was ran low on oil, you'll see it on the cams, the buckets, and the shims. I'm gonna get the head off now. One of the things to keep in mind, it doesn't matter if it's an inline six or any kind of head, you wanna go opposing directions. So I'll start in this corner, then number 2 will be over here, and then I'll slowly, and that allows a more even distribution of the release of pressure from the head bolts to minimize any damage to the head. I'm not gonna be reusing this head anyway, but that's always how I've done it. And so I'm gonna continue to do that pattern. So this head looks brand new. I'm not sure what the previous owner was referring to. I'm not sure if he was telling me that the engine did overheat and that he fixed it, because he wasn't super knowledgeable when I did talk to him. So it was hard to go off of just this word. But from everything I see so far, everything looks brand new. The head gasket, the head looks like it's been resurfaced. It looks like it's got a good valve job. I'm gonna spray some brake cleaner on the inside the exhaust and intake ports to see if anything leaks, but that's not super definitive. But everything I see so far looks good. The head gasket looks brand new. There's really no wear on it. There's a tiny bit of coolant right there, but I don't think that's anything. All the pistons look good. It's hard to tell. From everything I see as well and I can feel, the deck surface looks really good as well. I can't tell if it's been resurfaced or not, but it definitely looks like someone did something before they reassembled this engine. So it's hard to tell. I'm not sure. Regardless, the cylinder head was gonna come off anyway because I needed to install a MLS GTE head gasket and also ARP head studs. And then I have another cylinder head that's gonna be going in. But I'm genuinely surprised at what I'm seeing so far. So I don't know. Leave a comment below. Leave your thoughts. What do you think might have happened here? So unfortunately, in the last segment that I filmed, my mic actually died. So I'm actually running on the backup mic. So if you notice a change in the audio, don't at me. I've got the oil pan off, and it looks like the bottom end has not been rebuilt, but it does look like your normal 150, 200,000 mile plus 2JZ engine. Although it doesn't look great visually, this doesn't scare me by any means. And also something I've noticed that the oil staining on the oil pump tells me that the oil pump has not been replaced either. Not a big deal. I'm gonna be swapping that over to a different oil pump anyway. But everything looks good so far. I'm gonna pop a couple of rod caps off just to take a look and see how the bearings look. But otherwise, I think I'm gonna leave the engine as is. My plan was already gonna be to run a stock bottom end anyway for the power goals for this project. So I think I'm gonna pop a rod cap off, take a look at one or two of the rod bearings, and then after that, I think I'm gonna call it quits for the day. So really good news on the block. I'm really happy with the results. I think I'm gonna leave it as is and I'm gonna run it. I see no indication in the oil, in the rod caps that I pulled. Everything looks great, the bearings look great. So I'm gonna go ahead and run it. I think I've ran multiple 2JZ engines in this fashion and they're super reliable. And this one actually looks like to be in really good shape. So not much else left to do there. However, this cylinder head is my new cylinder head. So this is a VVTi cylinder head out of a 2JZ VVTi engine, a GE VVTi engine. This is the old cylinder head. So the main big difference is that this one comes with a VVTi solenoid and a cam sensor. This one came with a distributor, no VVTi and no cam sensor. The cam sensor is in the distributor. This is old, outdated technology, and moving forward, I plan to run this head. I do want to get the cams out of the cylinder head, and I want to get some water into the exhaust and intake ports, and I want to see just preliminarily how bad the valves are leaking, whether I have to maybe I just have to do a hand lap on them, or maybe it does have to go to the machine shop. But let's get the cams out of it and then we'll see how bad the valves are leaking. So it looks like we have one valve that's leaking, and so we'll have to take a look at that. I'm going to get this head completely disassembled, as I saw a lot of carbon buildup inside of the intake and exhaust ports. So I'm wondering if it's just some carbon buildup around the seat. Only way to really know is to get it apart and go from there. But I am done for today. I got a lot of good progress made, a lot of peace of mind, you know, in my mind, knowing that the bottom end is really good. I'm not too worried there. I'll have to order a new oil pump, a new water pump, a bunch of gaskets, and then head gasket and ARP head studs. As far as the head, looks like it's been resurfaced before, and so that's a good sign. But yeah, really good progress on everything so far. Probably off camera, I'm gonna get this head disassembled or come back tomorrow and get this head disassembled. But for today, appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for following me along on this engine teardown. Will be featured in probably one of the next videos. But for now, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your support. I'll see you in the next one.